Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. It's a pleasure to do another session with Thomas Caldwell. He's the chairman of Caldwell Securities Ltd. In Toronto. Tom, it continues to be an impactful year. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Good to be with you.
So what are you looking at these days in terms of on the economic front? What the economic news that you're considering and analyzing?
Well, it's quite interesting. On one hand, the U.S. economy is quite strong, doing very well. Inflation seems to be moderating somewhat, raising slight hopes that interest rates may ratchet down. I think the anticipation of lower interest rates was exaggerated. We're talking about 6 or 7 cuts this year. That's far too optimistic. I don't think they need to cut rates too much. If the economy is booming along, that's one thing.
Right.
And so we have accommodated this level of interest rates. So the need to reduce doesn't strike me as particularly urgent at the present time. So economy is doing well. Markets seem to be doing well. Inflation seems to be coming down a little bit. I'm inclined to think these are more short-term effects. This is an election year in the States, and we're almost an election year coming up in Canada in the early part into next year. So that means governments will continue to come out with feel-good, spend money projects. And it's very hard for central banks to really control inflation when the fiscal side, that is, governments, are out of control in their spending. But be that as it may, it should mean that the economy holds in for most of the year. We seem to have accommodated the geopolitical risks for now. The Ukrainian-Russian war is grinding to stalemate and World War I type of operations. Everybody's waiting for new toys or new breakthroughs or whatever, but battles and wars have changed dramatically with drones, etc.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone back to the drawing boards. A tank is no longer the god of battle.
Right.
And artillery, because they can spot you very quickly. And technology has really entered the fray. So what we're at is people digging holes and trying to hide in them, which strikes me as pretty retrograde, if you will, aside from tragic. So at any rate, I always think of Ariel Sharon, who's an Israeli general, very successful. He had a great line years ago. He said, sooner or later, you have to talk to your enemies.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, they're going to have to start talking, because they're grinding down and people are just dying for nothing now. And like it or not, Russia will never give up the Crimea, and probably not ever give up the Donbass area as well. So it's about territory, and the map may have to be readjusted. Israel is going to finish what Hamas started on October the 7th. And wars always have horrendous casualties aside from the combatants. I've seen that myself in Afghanistan, little kids suffering from amputations and death. It's horrendous. But the people who start these things very rarely pay the price. But that's going to be resolved in a few months. Now, whether you can ever stamp out Hamas, it's an idea, and that's a difficult thing to deal with. China, I don't think China's going to do anything in the near term, although U.S. does look fractured, and that makes it look vulnerable. So that's sort of a big picture.
Right.
And in it, we have to look for opportunities.
Yeah, no, exactly. I want to come back to the first. I think there's a lot to unpack there, which we will do. We've got time to do that. But I want to come back to the domestic economic situation, because, we've been talking on this program last couple of years, and quite frankly, I, maybe less so you, anticipated we'd be in a recession by now, but that really hasn't happened yet, at least yet. So why do you think that is?
Well, just remember, we're always dragged along by America's coattails. And it is a testament to the strength of some of our major industries that we've been able to survive almost 15 years of hostility toward business, generally speaking. Climate change, wherever you stand on that topic, has dominated every other matter, whether it be traffic in Toronto or anything you want to think, carbon taxes.
Hey, Tom,
And
we're going
like
to
it or
take a
not, it
brief
just,
break. I hate to do this, but because I know you're just getting started, but we do have to take a brief break.
no
Hold that
problem.
thought. We'll get right back to it after these messages.